Good morning, February 15th, 2024, Thursday. I'll start with some comments on the channel and then some emails, and then we'll get to the chat room. I have confirmation of my voice coming over, and I've just unmuted SpeakerBot. SpeakerBot. Somehow that's a fun thing to say. Such a Doug. Here in channel comments, it mentions, this is in the held for review section. It's from 6 days ago. Simon, I apologize for taking so long to get back to you on this. And this is because Simon is not at present an approved commenter. I'll be making an approved commenter with his check mark right there so that he can communicate in chat and so that his comments don't get held in this review section. And the only reason that that even happens for new people to the channel is because of certain trolls that are out there that are very aggressive. Anyway, what he says in relation to this slam dunk how to fix managed by your organization video, he says, what was the problem with having that message? I know it would be annoying, but what effect was it actually having on Edge? And this is the one where it's set up at the top of Edge on any setting screen, managed by your organization. In that case, the thing that was set was default notifications. So it prevented the person from changing the default notifications, but he could change the notifications for any particular websites. Now, we didn't actually go to check on how that behavior was happening. So in this case, it was not a big deal, but it just depends upon what policy had been set as far as how annoying
Good day,
it
Doug.
would be for how annoying it would be for the person. Okay, John says, I am approved. All right. And so here, the other thing I want to say here is that in that case, that was Tim Cruz, right? It was a computer that he was not actually using. It was mostly a curiosity from his point of view. It was not causing him any pain point, any stress, other than it was just annoying and he didn't know where it came from. Now, we still don't know how it had originally got there. I suspect some security program or security setting somewhere was trying to make things more private for them by setting a default notifications, which was to block notifications. I think it was because it was policy number 2. Leah Yvonne said ask, but this, let's see, somewhere along the line, I think I saw that setting it to a value of 2 was going to be to block notifications. I'm not going to go down that road further at the moment. Simon, I hope that answers your question. I'm going to approve you for the channel. Now, when I go back over here to publish.
I am approved. Carrie has new live stream later today.
Yeah, I've got redirect already set up, Nick. Thank you to go to Carrie's show today. So once I said always approve him, now it puts him on to this I haven't responded. After the show's over, I'll give him a thumbs up and a heart, and I'll let him know the timestamp in today's show when I responded to his question or comment. Yeah. And then Matthew Barnes says, regarding Active Directory conversation, that was from 2 days ago. I didn't do a show yesterday because I had client issues to deal with. It's possible to run Active Directory in the cloud using a service like Amazon Web Services, although I'm not an expert on it. Yeah, as I understand it, there's 3 ways. Let's see, where was the, there's 3 ways to do Active Directory, and that would be on a local server or in the, with InSync, which is a cloud way of managing Active Directory over multiple different sites. And then there's Active Directory actually in the cloud. I'm not even sure if I'm looking at the right place here. Yeah, InSync, I think is where you have Active Directory is actually running from each of the machines, and you're managing them from the cloud. And then you can have Active Directory actually in a cloud system to where it's not solely on computers on site. Something along those lines. That's not my area, but that's my understanding of it. Okay, so Matthew, I'm just going to give a thumbs up and a heart.
I use AD every day where I work.
I'm not going to specifically give him a timestamp because he watches often enough. So that was Nick saying he uses Active Directory every day.
As a Trekkie, Klingon greeting. Kach mok achuk.
Okay. you people. Let's see. Are these? Oh, you know what? This is a thing with the bot. It's not sending my request for how I'd like you to use it, because there's SpeakerBot guidelines to use it in relation to things that I'm talking about. Is my preference. And this was supposed to happen every 2 minutes, one time, and that's just not happening. Now, as long as I'm here, I think it was Avi Manor recently asked if I could go to one SpeakerBot voice so we have some consistency. So I thought I'd show you what the issue is here. I'm currently only using 4 SpeakerBot voices. And if I come down to here, you see all the voices that are available. Now, each one of these voices uses different emotional impact, different tone of voice. So like this one here called Paul, I can, if I choose him down here, Paul English V1, and do this test speak button, every time I do it, it's going to come out differently. Even on a single voice, it's not consistent. So here I'm going to give you a few of those as an example.
This is a test message. 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 This is a test message.
So every time it's different.
This is a test message.
It's not even going around in a loop as far as I could tell. So the only reason why I used to have a whole bunch of voices, then I've reduced it down to 4, trying to narrow down and eliminate the ones that are just annoying. But yeah, that's not working well. Okay. Then I'll move along to emails. Let's see. I gotta make sure I don't expose email address. Let's get this set up, zoomed in. Dennis gave me an email update yesterday for the issue that we talked about, 2 days ago. His email was from 2 days ago. And yeah, email address not exposed. I did a restore from yesterday's backup, and the little problem with my Windows security went away, at least for now. This is where he was having that virus infection, and we connected remotely to his computer and saw the file name and the location where it said that bad file was. We went and looked at that location. That file name was not there. It was very weird and strange. So he did a full image restore from the prior day to get rid of that. His public network, his network adapter will switch from, he can switch it to private, but it keeps switching back to public. I don't know what's causing that, but at least I don't have a virus. At least I just need to move files around between machines. Well, now one thing you could do there is to change the settings of your public profile in the firewall settings to allow it to let computers communicate with each other. I also mentioned to him during our fortnight this morning that you could change it to a static IP address. Right now it's on a dynamic IP address, and it's an Ethernet connection. You could change it to static and then change it back. That might be the issue. I've also suspect that when you connect a new router, or you've changed a network device in a computer, when you first connect to that network, there's a panel that slides out from the right on Windows 11. I think that's what he has. That asks if you want your computer to be discoverable. And you want to say yes to that if you want private network. If you answer no to that, then you're going to get public network. There's also a thing of being able to sync roaming profiles through your multiple devices. I saw that on a Google search. I'm kind of rambling a little bit here, but getting it out. So if people have other ideas about, let's see, I see he's got a comment in chat. I added a 9 to the end of my previous IP address, checking that. Okay, so I think that means he put in a static IP address that was 1 digit different than the dynamic address that was previously assigned. I was poking around in my Windows 11 trying to find where you could change, not change the from public to private. He knows how to do that. here's that. But to identify the network, there's something about that. I haven't quite got there. But here's configure firewall in security settings. So did you mean switch apps? Yes. And then come down here to public network. Now, right now, I have private network active. So what Dennis is telling us, he switches it to private, and that's active, but then it automatically switches back to public. So if you click on public network here, and let's see, but Defender Firewall helps protect. I didn't go deeper into this to see where to set it to allow computers to communicate with each other. Privacy settings. Defender Firewall. Nope, this isn't getting into that level.
Be careful. You want to assign static IP addresses that are outside of the dynamic range being given out by the router.
I understand that, Greg, but in a small network environment, I don't see that as, I've done that many times and it hasn't been a problem. But your point is worth mentioning, so thank you. All right, I think I've gone far enough down that for now. We'll probably hear back from Dennis as that progresses. Okay, going on to the next. And here, Martin Hogg. Remember, we've been talking with Martin Hogg about his Windows XP computer. What's he going to ask us now? Huh? What's he going to ask us now? Here it is. Hi, Doug. I hope you can help. Not Windows XP. Ha, ha, ha. So he lets us know he's got something else. Customer with a Lenovo laptop and Windows 10 recently connected a 1 terabyte external drive as a backup. He told me he did a complete backup, including the C drive, and now the PC won't boot past the Lenovo post screen. I suspect that it may be trying to boot from the external USB drive. I think you're right about that. Does this make sense? Yes. Will changing the boot order in BIOS be sufficient to solve? Yes. Or will I need to do more, such as remove that backup of C? No. And only arrange backup of certain files? No, you don't need to do that. And the easiest thing to do is just turn the power off on that external drive when you start the computer. So then it won't see that backup drive and it'll just boot to the internal drive. Changing the order in BIOS might be problematic if that person is depending on being able to boot from a USB drive when they put a buildable USB thumb drive in, perhaps to do a backup when they're booted off of the thumb drive. So if they're wanting to boot off of the thumb drive, I find it convenient to have the USB boot before the hard drive. Now that means you got to disconnect the USB, or in this case, the external drive. Apparently it's seeing something on that. It ought to see that there's no bootable system on that, and it should go to the internal hard drive, but I've seen sometimes where that just doesn't work quite right. What? A Windows computer not working quite the way you expect? Say it isn't so. What do I got next? Did that. Here's Carrie's show today. This looks fun. Just despicable Wi-Fi routers as your personal minions. So it looks like you've got Wi-Fi routers or access points, are they? They're routers or access points. And they got a minions Kevin and the minions Bob. So yeah, that looks kind of fun. Then let's go to pop out chat. And the pop out, and I'm already zoomed in pretty decent. Josh says, hey, I'm the first one here. Hello, Josh. Jeff Ryman says a pretty trail is referring to the trailer that happened to be on a mountain trail, hiking trail, trail. Yeah. Josh, Ken, yeah, sad. He's got some bad news within his circle of friends. So sorry. Best wishes, Ken. And everyone involved with that. John Williams, you are really rolling on that river with Creedence Clearwater Revival playing in the background. And he's right about that, because you know how Fire Pit will have a round section around it? That's where the band was set up. They were playing in the background Good morning from sunny Madison. Have a great day. Now, some people would think that I just did that in video editing. No. That was me rolling down the river. I was really rolling. Hello, Alice. She says, great trailer. Martin Hogg, hi to all in the community. Alice, Carl J, hello. Selden Ball, 34 degrees, hello. Nick carries a new live stream. John is approved. Dennis, using same IP address, using same IP for static address, private network still not persistent. Network discovery and file sharing are turned off after I turn it on before a restart. I was wondering about what could you do to cause the computer to think this is a new network. Oh, how about this? If you were to disconnect, I've never tried this. If I come into, let's see, I want to get, this is bouncing around without thinking it through first. I'll go to control panel. It's easier for me that way. Windows key R and then type control panel with the space between the words, then go to network and sharing. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Then change adapter settings. So if you actually right click and I think disconnect from, and see the gray, delete is grayed out. So if you disconnect from your network, and this will show disconnected, then right click and delete. So that you're actually deleting this Ethernet connection. And then plug back into the Ethernet port. And you should get that slide out panel on the right, I think, where it's asked, do you want to be your computer to be discoverable on this network? And you want to answer yes to that. That might do it. I'd never contemplated that idea. So that's just another idea, Dennis. Then come back to here. Network discovery and file sharing are turned off after I turned it on before a restart. Yeah, when you get switched to public, it would automatically turn network discovery and file sharing off. Now, if you get to, what's the best way in firewall? Here, Windows Defender Firewall with advanced security. Now, I lost the comment somewhere. Dennis sent an email, I think it was, or a comment somewhere, saying that it's now called Windows Security. Now, here is a place where it's got Windows Defender again, or using that term. But I did see, Dennis, where on this icon down here, when you go into security, here, this one, they call it Windows Security, and here rather than Windows Defender. So then here you would need to get Defender Firewall with, no, this isn't, this, what you want to do is change the settings for a public network. And I'm not getting that quick enough. So I'm just going to keep going down here, but that's just an idea I'm throwing out. Change to another IP address. And that's a question. I know, I think he's already done that. So maybe that's just old. Stand by, everyone, waiting for Doug. Not sure. As Trekkie Klingon.
Doug, you have blur enabled on the chant screen?
Oh, yeah, that's left over from a, thank you for letting me know. That's left over from a video that I prepared that'll be released at 12:05 p.m. Monday. I had a whole bunch of blurs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know, about 10 blurs. So I just turned those all off, so you shouldn't have any more blur. And I've lowered the volume for SpeakerBot, and that was on this screen I was showing earlier. Here's that volume slider, so it's way down to 30%. How's the volume sounding for you folks? Josh, good afternoon. We missed you. Thank you. Added 9, checking that. Update for others, dealing with Ethernet, Wi-Fi. Yeah. Already read that. Rewinding stream. Sounds like he did an image backup instead of like a backup in the general sense, so it's trying to boot from the image. No, it wouldn't be doing that because an image backup backs up your image into a single file. So that's not something that BIOS is looking for boot information. So now if he did a clone, if he cloned his hard drive to the external
Sound
drive,
good?
yeah, that would do it. Thank you, John. Yeah, if it was not that, but that's not an image backup, that's a clone. An image backup backs up the entire drive into a single file. Thing is, if USB drive is not bootable, the computer should go to the next drive. I absolutely agree with that, but I've seen sometimes where the computer just doesn't get past it somehow. Perhaps a BIOS update might fix that if it's not understanding that particular drive somehow. Dennis is showing his current IP address, previous dynamic address. Okay, dynamic. So that would indicate his DHCP is assigning low numbers. And he put in, oh, that's what he means by put a 9 on the end. So he just made it 59. In a small network environment, that should be fine. He's not going to come to a clash with his router trying to assign that same address to another computer. Forgive me for not being totally sharp on that subject, but I'm having glucose tablets for breakfast. I'll be all right. I've had some cookies too, but I can't believe the brain fog. I hope Ken is okay from Alice. He's okay. It's a friend of his that is not. And that's what the sadness is about. He used file history to do the backup. He used file history to do the backup? What? I do not understand. That was from Martin. Okay, he used file history to do the backup. File history. Customer with a Lenovo laptop, Windows 10, recently connected a 1 terabyte external drive as a backup. He told me he did a complete backup, including drive C, and now the PC won't boot past. File history. I don't know what that is. I don't recognize what file history is. Hey guys, I'm all sick, not feeling good. Hope you feel better soon, Ryan. Setting to private still isn't persistent. Hope everyone's well, from Ryan. 5 minutes behind from Jim. Volume is good. Sound good. Best wishes to Ken's friend. Yeah, there's something about file history in a setting in Windows, I believe, for backing up something like that. I have a vague memory. I came across it recently. Normally, we don't use
Oh,
this.
he is saving file history. Hooch logs changes to files out to the USB drive.
He is saving file history, which logs changes to files out to the USB. He is saving file history. Okay, so let me see if I can get a quick answer as to what that means. To set up file history in Windows 10, connect your backup device, open the settings, updating security, backup, and click add a drive under backup using file history header. Using file history header. Select the location you wish to use for your backup. File history is now enabled. Okay. Settings, update, and security. Now they're saying Windows 10, weren't they saying? Yeah. Settings, update, and security. I'm going to try privacy and security. Windows security, find my device. So this is a backup. This is app permissions, not going to be that. Let's try backup. Backup and sync your settings, ransomware, backup, file history. I'm not going to spend much time on this.
I have file history set on 3 machines here. They save to the NAS.
Okay, so Jim has file history set on 3 machines here. Is that not available Windows 11, Jim? Do you know where that is? I don't think I've ever explored that. And when it's file history, so is that like oh, what's that other thing that Windows, some versions of Windows does? The shadow copy. Is that like a shadow copy? Yeah, I don't think that changes the reason.
It's like for versioning.
It's like versioning. Okay. I don't think that would have any change of advice for how to get this computer to boot. So turn off that drive, boot the computer up, and then turn it back on. File history sounds like it would be an ongoing thing, continual thing. Yeah, but I don't think it should try to boot to that history file, right? Backing up files are just that, backs up files. Yeah, but I think the BIOS is not understanding there's no operating system on that drive. It could be because that drive is much newer than the BIOS, and the BIOS is somehow confused about how to see that drive, and it's stuck. So it's still trying to find something there, perhaps. It's just not getting past it. It should, even if it examines that drive, it should decide that there's no operating system there, and then go ahead and boot to the next available operating system, first available operating system. So I think somehow it's not understanding that drive. So possibly a BIOS
File
update
history
might
is in
fix it.
Control Panel on Windows 11.
Thank you, Jim. I'll go there in a moment. Update BIOS, or turn the drive off, or change the boot priority, the boot order in BIOS setup. Okay, so Jim said file history is in Control Panel Windows 11. Okay, so I'm going Control Panel, File History. Oh, right there. Okay, so not a native path in Windows 11. Keep a history of your files. File history saves copies of your files so you can get them back if they're lost or damaged. No usable device was found. We recommend use external drive for file history. Now I do image backups and differential and incremental backups, so there's a backup every day, and my data is actually stored on OneDrive, so that does versioning as well. So I'm not interested in doing that, but it only does files from libraries, desktop, contacts, and favorites. So it's not going to do things that are stored in other folders. If you're not using your the libraries, you could add folders to your library. Let's see, if I come down here to a folder that's not in my library and right click on it, should be able to add it to a library. Open a new tab, quick access, pin to start. Is libraries not a thing anymore? I don't see add to library here. Is that something that's no longer available? That's a feature that I never used much at all. So thank you for that, Jim. Dennis, I restored a macro image. Also, I am now .2.8 dynamic IP again. There's still no change. But since I can temporarily set it to private in transfer files, I'll just live with it. So I guess he doesn't want to try the other thing I suggested. Particularly the one I'm interested in is disconnect the Ethernet, and then from the network devices panel, delete that Ethernet network item, reconnect, and expect that slide out panel from the right, and click to say that you do want your computer to be discoverable. What she just explained about the drive being hung up, I had a weird thing that happened recently on my virtual machine. The storage is done on a USB drive specifically for all the virtual machines, and suddenly when I boot my computer from a fresh start, meaning it was turned off, sometimes BIOS tries to boot it, which is weird. It's not consistent per se. It's another weird thing. I will attempt to boot, and then BIOS will kind of crash and I get hung up with ASUS there, problem screen, something like that. I don't worry about it. I'm just commenting. Yeah, that kind of sounds like a similar kind of thing. And I would wonder there too if a BIOS update will fix that. On the subject of using Windows to back up file history and things like that, it sounds like you're comfortable with using built-in tool from Microsoft. All right, there is 9:29 and 34 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and shut down. Oh, well, I got to tell you a little bit about the thing that I was dealing with. I had told you about the that accounting software, BusinessWorks, that we were having trouble with. And we were talking through different solutions for that. I think that was on Tuesday. And what I wound up realizing later and contemplating is the reinstallation of BusinessWorks had come across a point where it said pervasive is already installed, so it will not be installed. So it completed the BusinessWorks install without installing pervasive. So I went back and uninstalled BusinessWorks and uninstalled pervasive, and then reinstalled BusinessWorks, which automatically installs pervasive. There's a point that it comes to where it asks, where is the server? I tell it where the server is, and it gives me a prompt to log in with administrator credentials of the server. And I tried that, and it failed. It said those are not valid credentials, and they absolutely are valid credentials. So I went down a few squirrel paths trying to fix that.
Have a great day!
And then I went past it. Thank you, John. And then I went past it to just complete it. And I got to a point where it said the installation is finished. Well, when an installation is finished and something went wrong, it usually doesn't work. Okay. But I thought, I wonder. So I went and launched BusinessWorks, and it worked. The installation procedure told me that it failed. Again, computers lie like a rug because it worked. It worked. So that one was fixed. All right, that's all. Goodbye. Have a great day, everybody. See you later.